guys, it's great to be with you again. Let me tell you another embarrassing boat story to start off with. Generously, my grandparents had offered to take us as kids and as a family on a ferry across to France so that we could go shopping in a French hypermarket. I was young. The first time we arranged to do it, the ferry caught on fire. Not while we were on it, thank goodness, but while it was coming across to kind of pick us up, the ferry caught on fire. People had to be airlifted out. It was quite dramatic and all on the news and all that kind of stuff. So we didn't get to make it that time. So the next time when they rescheduled it, we got on the boat, everything. We went upstairs, got in the restaurant. The ferry took off, and the problem was the sea was really rough, really like choppy, windy, just waves, all that kind of stuff. And so the boat was just moving around. And I mean, we were up in the restaurant. I had a big breakfast, but after a while, I started not to feel great. And I said this to my parents, I said, Mum, Dad, I think I need to go to the bathroom. They were literally taking me across the restaurant floor, and then it happened. I threw up all over the restaurant floor in front of all these people, just out everywhere. Really horrible and really embarrassing. Mum and Dad kind of whisked me off, took me to the bathroom, kind of cleaned me up, while other people kind of cleaned up all the mess I've made. By the time I came out of the bathroom, the sea was still really choppy, but it wasn't just me who had been sick, but actually people were being sick all over the boat. I remember one guy literally running past me to get to the outside because he'd like throw up over the side of the boat. It was a really bad crossing, really embarrassing moment for me in front of all these people as a young kid. The story we're looking at in the Gospels, in Mark's Gospel, is about when Jesus calms a storm, about a storm that kind of erupts and it's windy and there's waves and the boat is filling. And so we're going to look at Mark chapter 4 and how Jesus kind of calms that storm and how Jesus can help us calm our storms that we face either now or in the future. So what I want you to do is I want you to go and grab a Bible, and we're going to read together Mark chapter 4 verses 35 to 41. So go and grab a Bible right now. So here we are, Mark chapter 4, and we're going to start from verse 35. So on that day, when evening had come, Jesus said to them, "Let us go across to the other side." And leaving the crowd, they took him with them in the boat, just as he was. And other boats were with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves were breaking into the boat so that the boat was already filling. But Jesus was in the stern, asleep on the cushion. And they woke Jesus and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" And he awoke and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said to them, "Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith?" And they were filled with great fear and said to one another, "Who then is this, that even the wind and sea obey him?" It's a supernatural story. In Jesus's age and in our age, I mean, throughout history, nobody controls the sea. The sea is untamable. It's uncontrollable. It does what it wants to do. There's a famous story about a Danish king called King Canute, and he had done amazing things and ruled and invaded lands, and he was a great and mighty king, and everybody was celebrating and telling him so. And so in order to help them understand the limit of his authority and power, he ordered that his throne be put on the beach. And as he sat on the beach, he said, "Waves, I don't want you to come any closer. You are not allowed to get my robes wet." The waves completely ignored him. In fact, he got soaked, and he turned around and he said to those who were celebrating his authority and saying how amazing he was, he said, "Only God controls the sea. I mean, this is a supernatural story. Jesus literally wipes the sleep from his eyes and speaks peace to the storm, and it completely obeys him, like almost like an obedient dog. It's like, yeah, I'll do whatever you say, Jesus. Yeah. And so this is an amazing account of Jesus' authority, Jesus' divine power, his divine identity. So what I'm going to put up on the screen for you is that the Old Testament talks about this, talks about how God is the one who controls the sea. And so what I want you to do in the next kind of 30 seconds, just look up those 2 Bible verses, and then we're going to dive back into looking at how Jesus calms this storm. So check those out, and then we'll come back together. Okay, hope you enjoyed those couple of verses. God is the only one who has authority over the sea. The sea obeys his voice. But what I want to look at today is, I want to look at what Jesus says to the storm. What is it that causes the storm to calm? And so verse 39, Jesus says, "Peace, be still." It's Jesus' peace that calms the storm. And there's amazing contrast in this story, and it talks about the waves are kind of crashing in and smashing in, and it comes all suddenly, and then Jesus speaks peace, and then there is a great calm. The sea has gone from massive waves splashing, filling the boat, to it being like glass, perfect and still. That's how Mark describes what happened. And the change was that Jesus spoke peace. Jesus spoke peace into that storm. And so what I want to explore just for the rest of this video is, how can we let Jesus' peace calm our storms? How can we let Jesus help us when we're going through stormy seasons? And we're in a stormy season now, with all that's going on with the coronavirus, but there'll be seasons later on in your life where it's a storm. It feels like you're sinking. It feels like you're being overwhelmed. And what we need more than anything else in that season is peace. Just to let you into my world, most of you know we've been trying to move house, and sadly we found out this weekend that we're not able to do that. It's kind of fallen through, and so we've been trying to move for a whole year. But the one thing, as people have sent messages to us and encouragement and been praying for us, the one thing that Lord, our wonderful church family has been saying is, we just want you to know God's peace in this season. May you be at peace. And that's really helpful. When you're in a storm, you need God's peace. It's peace that helps you overcome the storms of life. And so the thing I want to look at how can we develop pathways of peace? So I love going for a walk in the woods, a walk in nature, and a lot of the paths that I've already gone on, the paths we walk on, have already been made. People have already kind of trodden those paths and made those paths. And so often in our lives, what we need to create is pathways for Jesus to connect with us and help us and aid us. We need those pathways of peace. We need those habits, those things built into our lives that can be channels of his peace and enable peace to come to us. So I just want to share 4 quick things that we can learn from this story, and we can learn from other people about pathways of what can be channels of God's peace, pathways of peace into our lives. So Okay, pathway number one is connection to Jesus. The reason the disciples experienced his peace in the storm is because they were with him, because they were followers of him, and it's in that context that Jesus gives us his peace. In John's Gospel, Jesus says to his disciples, "My peace I give to you." And so it's in connection with Jesus, it's in being a follower of Jesus that we experience his peace. And so my question to you is, are you a follower of Jesus, or do you just go to church? Are you just part of a Christian family, or actually you made that decision to be a follower of Jesus? But also there's another point to this, that it's in our connection with Jesus by his Holy Spirit that the fruit of peace, this amazing peace of Jesus, becomes real in our lives. And we find out more about that in Galatians 5. But the first pathway is about our connection, our time, our being with Jesus. Pathway number two is the voice of Jesus. The reason the disciples experience the peace of Jesus in the storm is because Jesus speaks and peace comes. It's the voice of Jesus that brings peace. And so I just want to ask you, are you spending time listening to Jesus? And I guess that the primary way we do that is by reading the Bible, is by giving time to read his word, but it also has the dynamic of listening to the Holy Spirit and what he is saying. And so it's really important that we give time to listening to the voice of Jesus, because it's his very words spoken to us that bring us peace. Okay, pathway number three is the community of Jesus. That the disciples in this moment share the storm together and they experience Jesus' peace together. And actually God has put us in church family and church community to help and bring his peace in the midst of a storm. And actually it's about sharing our storms with others. And so I guess my question to you is, who do you share your storms with? Who do you let in on the storms that you are experiencing? Who do you talk to about the storms that are going on in your life? Because that's a massive channel through which Jesus wants to bring his peace. It's in the context of our community with one another. Pathway number four is the fear of Jesus. I know it sounds odd, but if you go back to the story, what we find is the disciples start off scared of the storm, and they end up at the end of the story scared of Jesus, in awe of him, at his power. There's somebody more powerful in the boat than the storm that's trying to sink the boat. And actually the fear of Jesus, the awe and wonder and reverence of Jesus' authority and power and goodness and rule is a massive resource of peace for us, knowing that no matter what storm or pain or difficulty we face, Jesus is in charge and he loves us. And so an appropriate awe and reverence of Jesus' power and authority is a huge resource of peace. So my question to you is this: are you more in awe of Jesus than you are of anything else in your life? Guys, I want to just leave you with a song to listen to. It's called Peace Be Still, featuring Lauren Daigle. It's a brilliant song about Jesus' peace calming our storms. And so I just want to encourage you to listen to that. It's on the playlist on our YouTube channel. You also find it on our Ignite Youth worship playlist as well. And so have a listen to that and let Jesus just speak to you and help you and bring you peace in the midst of your storm. It's great to see you guys. Take care and watch out for the next teaching series.